Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here. The Raptors Digest reacting to the Toronto Raptors 119-101 win against the Atlanta Hawks. Now, the Toronto Raptors, it's been a crazy past couple days. The rumors have been flying. We actually made a blockbuster deal. And before we get into this game, tomorrow morning, Riker and I are going to be able to record our full breakdown on the massive blockbuster trade that occurred earlier today. For people that don't know, Marc Gasol was traded to the Toronto Raptors. That's why we had 9 guys currently suited up tonight. But a full breakdown of that is coming tomorrow morning. I believe it should drop. And we're also going to make a video on the buyout market because we have currently the 10 roster spots filled. We can have a maximum of 15. So we want to fill out that roster, and there's a lot of guys out there. I know people are mentioning Wayne Ellington, Markieff Morris, a lot of guys on the market that could be potential buyout candidates. So we're hopefully, I'm sure Masai isn't planning on running with 10 players the rest of the season, so we got a lot of interesting things to talk about, so stay tuned to the Raptors Digest, and if you want to hear more trade-specific discussion, I made a quick reaction to the trade earlier today, so definitely check that out. And regardless, enough of the trades. We've had about 6 straight videos on trades. Let's talk about some actual basketball happening, because early in this game, it didn't look too good. I really don't want to talk about the first couple quarters of this game before the last maybe 4 minutes of the second quarter, because it just really wasn't looking nice. Lowry wasn't hitting shots. The Toronto Raptors really couldn't throw the ball in the ocean, so to speak. The defense wasn't great, but after that mid-second quarter, the Toronto Raptors really took over this game and ran with it, as we should. We're playing the Atlanta Hawks. We're a bit undermanned. No Kawhi tonight, and obviously no Marc Gasol, as he's our new big man down low. But those guys weren't suited up. Kawhi, I believe, had soreness, left knee soreness that he was declared with. So hopefully that's nothing serious. But yeah, a lot of things could have went wrong. With a big trade that happens, these are the types of games that you can easily drop. But Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet were not letting that happen today, and I don't know which one to talk about first, because they both dropped career highs. I guess we'll talk about Pascal, because he had 33 points, 14 rebounds, 4 assists, played 40 minutes, had 2 steals, a block. He literally did everything out there. The fact that this man wasn't an all-star, I guess it was a toss-up between him and Lowry. Pascal Siakam, in my opinion, probably deserved it a little bit more than Lowry, just because Lowry's been injured, but it could have went either way. I love both the way that they're playing this season. Kyle Lowry obviously hasn't been super consistent while injured, but Pascal Siakam, nonetheless, he had a monster night tonight. We needed someone to really take over this game, especially when we were down, and Pascal running the break, getting to the rim. He hit a couple threes. He hit one crazy fadeaway mid-range jump shot over Vince Carter, which was ridiculous. Pascal was really out here. Maybe some of the Anthony Davis talk, because people, like us, it would have been worth it to trade him for Anthony Davis. But the fact that he was in trade discussions maybe rotted Pascal Siakam, which is fair, because he's having an absolutely amazing season, and maybe it motivated him, because honestly, probably not, because Pascal Siakam is just continuously improving every game. It seems like the past 2 months he's broken his career high every second game. And obviously we've, as Toronto Raptors fans, people that have watched the games, we've seen his progression. We know how good this guy is. We know how good he's going to be. Pascal Siakam is a legitimate, he could be a star in this league. There's no doubt in my mind he's going to be a perennial all-star, and he continues to show it at that level. But it's kind of interesting seeing how other people talk about the team, especially during trade discussions, because we got some talk on the ESPN radio shows, all those news shows, when we traded for Marc Gasol, and they're all talking about the big three of Lowry, Kawhi, and Marc Gasol. Obviously, they're the most established players and all that, but I think people are forgetting that we have a player of the caliber of Pascal Siakam on this team too. People are expecting Kawhi just to leave because Lowry and now Gasol are old. We don't really have a core that fits Kawhi Leonard, but we have some young guys on this roster that as our older stars fade out, they can pick up the torch, and hopefully Pascal can do this on a consistent basis and carry our way through the playoffs, because that's obviously where our big goals are to be had. Regardless, another young guy that's officially been given the backup point guard title. Obviously, Fred VanVleet has been manning the backup point guard position the past couple seasons, but DeLon Wright is traditionally a point guard, and they both kind of shared the floor together, shared ball handling duties. But now we put all our chips in with Fred VanVleet as the backup point guard. Currently, we came in with Lorenzo Brown, DeLon Wright, and Kay Felder, who played a bit for the 905, but 5 point guards on the roster that could play NBA minutes. Obviously Kay Felder and Lorenzo Brown weren't ideal people for there, but now we just have Kyle Lowry, Fred VanVleet. I'm sure we'll get some insurance at some point. especially with Kyle Lowry's health. But Fred VanVleet, given added responsibility, came out tonight and also broke his career high in points. 30 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, 4 threes, 50% shooting from the field, plus 32 for the game. Fred VanVleet, he's another guy who really stepped up tonight. And the thing about Fred VanVleet, I've noticed in most of the games where he plays well versus the games he struggled, he's very concise with his moves and decision making when he's playing well. When he has games like this, he makes his moves quickly but doesn't rush. He doesn't waste dribbles, he doesn't do these sorts of things. And in games where he struggles, he doesn't hesitate because he always has the confidence to do the right thing, and that's probably Fred's best skill, because especially out of a point guard position, you want someone with confidence to have the ball even when they're struggling, not to give it up, and be able to facilitate things on the court. But Fred VanVleet has a tendency to sometimes over-dribble, try and overdo some things, go into the paint and shoot ridiculous shots. But when he does his moves quick, a quick double cross. He took out Dwayne Dedmon and Vince Carter a couple times when they were switched on him, made quick, concise moves, got to the rim, got his jump shots, didn't really wait, shot them consistently in the flow and rhythm, and that's when Fred VanVleet's playing his best. When there's no wasted motion on the court, that's what we want out of a guy that's our backup point guard who can step into the starting role. And hopefully with this added responsibility, it's something we see more out of Fred VanVleet. But yeah, Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet combined for 63 points. That's a quality night. Serge Ibaka, he had 12 points tonight, only 26 minutes, which is a bit surprising considering we don't have any other big men on the team. That's why we saw Pascal play 40 minutes. But Serge had 12 points, 5 rebounds. Not the greatest game for Serge, but still, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Serge, and we'll get into this in the full trade breakdown. But Marc Gasol's coming in, and he's probably going to start. Serge Ibaka's having he's putting up similar numbers to Marc Gasol, but obviously they're in completely different situations. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do, because apparently there's reports that Nick Nurse and the Raptors staff aren't sure who they're going to start, especially the way Serge has been playing. But personally, I'd like to see Marc Gasol be the starter for the team, and then Serge Ibaka come off the bench and really give that scoring punch that the bench needs. Because currently without the buyout players, and obviously we don't know who we're going to fill our bench out with, but we don't have too much scoring. Obviously Fred can score, Norm has really stepped up his game as of late, but especially because currently OG and Patrick McCaw are our 9th and 10th players, and OG, I really love the guy. I think he's going to have a phenomenal career. I think he's going to blossom into a star one day. But right now, I don't really trust his scoring ability. And Patrick McCaw, we saw it tonight. He got 20 minutes, 19 minutes for Patrick McCaw, 0 points. Did it on the defensive end. Didn't have an awful game by any means, but he's not really a scoring threat out there. It's going to be interesting to see where our bench scoring comes from. I wouldn't mind seeing Serge be put on the bench and see Marc Gasol gel with the starting unit. But let me know what you guys think of that decision, what's going to happen with Gasol and Serge coming up. And we'll obviously talk about that in great fashion, great deal over the next few days. Everyone else, Norman Powell had a pretty solid game, 11 points for him. He's been consistently putting up double-digit games. He'll have an added responsibility now too with DeLon Wright gone. This is one thing I like about this move, especially if we get a power forward off the buyout market. I think that's a position we really need to fill, because if Norman Powell can play the 2, I've been saying it since last season, he is a natural 2 guard. He shouldn't be playing the 3 position. He's capable, but he's more of a 2 shooting guard player. And OG Anunoby last season started at the small forward for the Toronto Raptors. Obviously, he wasn't a big scorer. He didn't put up, his box score numbers didn't mind blow you, but OG is more effective at the 3. He's better at guarding wings. He's better at rebounding for a small forward, not a power forward, because he's undersized for a power forward. And he gets better shots. He gets better looks when he's camping in the corners and not necessarily having to cut through the lanes and set screens. I think if Norm and OG are put at their natural positions, we'll see them play a lot better off the bench for this roster. But yeah, there's lots of things to talk about, and I'm kind of veering away from the game. But yeah, aside from Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet, no one really. Kyle Lowry played well. He had 13 points, 13 assists. Not the greatest shooting night, but hit 3 threes, which isn't too bad, but not on the greatest field goal percentage. He almost had a triple-double with 8 rebounds. If Lowry can play like this, maybe with a higher shooting percentage, we'll be fine. Kyle Lowry playing at this level, ideally want the shooting percentage to be higher, but with now Marc Gasol and Pascal Siakam on the roster, I think they're 2 players where if Kyle Lowry isn't producing scoring-wise, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. That might be a hotter take. That might be something that you guys disagree with, but I think Marc Gasol gives us that scoring consistency down low. Serge Ibaka's been able to do it, but I don't think he does it to as great of an extent as Marc Gasol will be capable of doing in a Nick Nurse offense. Because under Nick Nurse, for what we've been kind of flaming him on the past few pods about his late game execution and different things that he does, because obviously the offense isn't as nice as we expected, but it has brought the most out of our center position. Even Greg Monroe, when he was in there, he played well. Jonas and Serge were having an all-star season as a single player. So I'm sure he'll get the best out of Marc Gasol. But I'm rambling about the future too much. Let's get back into this game. And before we get into the segments, I didn't say it at the beginning of the pod, but we have a comment of the day, eh? And it's going to Paul C. Because he has a newsflash that the Gasol trade was been nixed. Half of this podcast, all the videos were a waste. Because GoDaddy, they blocked the trade. They said CJ Miles commercials must run, and he can't be traded. He can't be moved. Sorry, Masai. GoDaddy curse is real, even on the GM of the Toronto Raptors. Man, it's going to be interesting. Hopefully, GoDaddy doesn't launch a new branch of commercials with other players, because we don't want to risk the curse being put on any of the other guys. Keep Kawhi away from GoDaddy, Lowry, Norm. Keep them all away. Bring back Bebe or something. Let them do a former Raptors GoDaddy commercial, or get some Celtics players in there. Get some Bucks guys, because no more Raptors and GoDaddy commercials. But yeah, Paul C's out here letting us know the real facts, the real news. Now we'll swing it to the actual segments. Tonight, the Kawhi you do him like that play of the day. I think I mentioned it earlier. Pascal Siakam had a ridiculous game tonight. There's a lot of plays that you can choose from, but he had this ridiculous kind of mid-range pull-up jump shot over Vince Carter. It's kind of jarring watching it, because you rarely see Pascal shoot shots off the dribble, but he did a little shimmy, a little dribble, quick pull, swish. Cash money for Pascal Siakam. If he can get a dribble pull jumper along with a three-point shot, the league will be broken. Pascal Siakam. People think Giannis with the jump shot's nasty. Pascal Siakam's even better. No bias at all. Anyways, not all plays can be the Kawhi you do him like that play of the day, and some just make you say, "Oh, geez." And tonight, the "Oh, geez" play of the day, it's going to Kyle Lowry. Tonight he had an obscure fashion sense going on. He was on the bench and he had the towel wrapped around like it was a bandana. It was kind of crazy, because it's pretty hard to tie. They're pretty NBA towels are pretty thick. They're just like hand towels you see in your bathroom. Had it wrapped around his head. It was tied. I had no idea how it was staying on there, how it was tied, but I saw it and I said, "Oh geez." Let me know if you guys said the same when you saw Kyle Lowry there. And finally, the infamous, the one and only Damari Carroll Gold Star Award. And tonight, my initial reaction for people that heard it, and if you haven't, definitely check it out, to the trade, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure on the trade. After some speculation, some reflection, I think it's, basketball-wise, it completely makes sense. It 100% makes sense, especially for this season and next. Marc Gasol is older, and obviously JV's younger and all those sorts of things, but basketball-wise, it's the move. But my God, am I heartbroken JV's gone. JV's one of those guys. We drafted him. We had to wait a year for him to come over, to come over from Europe. We had the potential. I remember him and Terrence Ross were untradeable guys back in the day. And then in his early season, we had Aaron Gray starting over him for a stretch, and he had those pump fakes, he had those travels, he'd always get fouls called on him, he'd always be going at the best centers in the NBA. And it feels like you've grown up with Giannis. He came over, he could barely speak English, he was thin as a toothpick, he had that huge body transformation where he turned into a Goliath, then lost all the weight. The stories, he's been through now Lowry's the only longest tenured Raptor. I don't know, he's always a friendly face. I think all Raptors fans feel a connection to Lithuania because Jonas is on the team, especially us. We've had a couple videos, obviously you guys don't see the analytics, but we've had a couple videos just go viral in Lithuania on the Raptors Digest, especially when the channel was obviously we're growing now, we're not that big, but especially when we were initially, we were under 500 subscribers. One of our biggest videos, the Jonas, the next Steph Curry, that went viral in Lithuania. Definitely check that video out in tribute to Jonas. I'll link it in the description. But yeah, I don't know. It sucks that JV's gone. I know we're getting a 3-time All-Star back, but I don't know. It feels like you've had a connection with JV. And let me know if I'm just being weird. Obviously, we lost DeLon Wright too and CJ Miles, but the real pain is with JV. Like, I'll miss CJ. He's a good guy in the locker room. DeLon Wright gave us a few good years, but he was the longest tenured Raptor. Now Lowry and Norm are the only two players from that 2016 playoff run. They're the only two players that made the Eastern Conference Finals with us. And that feels like it was just yesterday. Oh, crazy stuff. The Damari Carroll Gold Star Award, it's going to my emotions. Because I'm a miss JV. Basketball-wise, it made sense, but he even made that tweet this morning when he was coming back tonight, and everyone was super excited. I know I was super hyped to see JV back. JV, death, JV, no. Death, taxes, and JV threes. We're not getting that morbid on the podcast, but yeah. I don't know, kind of a depressing end to this one, but still, super exciting times for Toronto Raptors fans. Leave it in the comment section your favorite JV moment, because I'm going to miss that guy. Sure, all Raptors fans will. Well, I'll miss DeLon and CJ as well, but they weren't around as long as JV was. So, yeah. No, Toronto Raptors, to end it on a non-depressing note, got the win. Got a big win. Pascal Siakam looking like an all-star. Fred VanVleet looked like an all-star tonight. Maybe a few more games from Fred VanVleet to really put him at that level. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. You're the best for making it this far. Check out the Twitter, the Instagram, all that cool stuff. As I mentioned at the beginning, pod's coming tomorrow, the next day on the complete trade breakdown, because obviously this is a game reaction, and a look at the buyout market, because obviously we cannot run with 10 players on a night-to-night basis. Our players will get burned out, so that can't be the case. I'm signing off. Cheers.